Hi guys, and welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. I'm Alex Whiteley, and today, Vicks isn't here to do the intro, but she is in this episode, so you'll hear off her in a second. This is a fantastic episode that's almost been like 2 years in the making. The SYST, Shropshire Youth Support Trust, I'm really impressed with it. I think they do a great job. And we met at the Flax Mill 2 years ago, and I was really impressed by them. So I was like, oh, we should do a podcast like I normally do when I meet someone at events like this. But we're finally getting to it. It's really cool. So that's what you got to look forward to. But I'm raising a call to arms. I'm asking for a bit of help. There's been an issue with the distribution of my podcast that's been happening for the last, I don't know, probably 12 weeks, something like that, and I didn't even know. So Spotify and iTunes had changed their terms and conditions, so my email was private, and you're supposed to display it. Otherwise, they won't list your products properly. They won't list your podcast. So imagine I don't check my analytics and statistics, which is absolutely crazy, isn't it? But like, I don't like looking at them because I make this show for the show. I just enjoy speaking to people genuinely. So imagine my shock when I've gone to check my analytics and I've lost 60% of my audience because of this glitch, this thing that's happened. So I'm kind of panicking because there are a few things happening in the background which could really help the Shrewsbury Biscuit. I mean, I want to do this for a living. I'm not going to lie. I've always been open about that. And you know, if the show takes off, then that's what could ultimately happen. So my audience has died, and I'm like got nothing to show for it at the moment. Normally, the podcast, I'll be honest with you, it gets between 1,000 1,500 downloads a month, which is not bad. It kind of holds its own. I love that. But we lost most of our audience, so I need your help, guys, the listeners of this podcast. I like, normally podcasters are like and share my stuff, but I desperately need some reviews. If you enjoyed an episode and you listen to it on iTunes or Spotify, or even if you want to drop us one on Facebook, reviews really help. So if you please just drop us like any kind of review if you like an episode. Share the content as well. Let people know if you think that somebody will enjoy an episode. Give it a share on your own Facebook. Listen as well. Listen to all. Go back and listen to some of the back catalogue. Even if you leave it on for the dog while you go shopping. These kind of things will really help the show because we lost a bit of momentum. I'm trying to get it back, and this is not a dishonest way of trying to get views or downloads. People genuinely enjoy this show. But if it's not appearing on so many algorithms, it won't appear to the top of anyone's list. It's just giving the podcast a kickstart to get back to where we were. So if you're a fan of the show and you really enjoy it and you genuinely really like what we do, give us some reviews, share the content, and just listen on whatever platform you listen, whether it's Spotify, whether it's iTunes, Google, listen on your device, wherever you listen to this podcast, just get those listens up because I would really, really like to get back to where we were. It's quite heartbreaking when things like this happen. Anyway, look, I'm going to get on with this episode. There is a cheesy kind of plug in the middle of this podcast, and I did this on purpose because we're speaking to a charity that helps with entrepreneurs and businesses. I knew this was coming, and so I decided to go out and find a product. You may remember a while ago, Camilla Monk came on my podcast and she was like, you need to find sponsors or things like this, and I started small with, let's get some free product, let's get something free sent out, and I found a product I really like. It's the guys from Bob. Welcome to Bob. They are on the socials. They've revolutionized soap. It's kind of a cool thing, and I really liked it. I spoke to the founder. I told him this is what I was going to do, and he's really happy. So he sent me out some free products. So there is a cheesy plug for a soap manufacturer in the middle of this, and that is ticking off one of the 6 Camilla Monk gave me. I think it was 2 or 3 sponsorships or things like that we've got to find, and I do need to find proper sponsors. I'm gonna get on that, don't worry. But like, I've just thought this is a cool little thing, because we're talking about business. This is a great product by young entrepreneurs that are just trying to go out there now. Well, we're talking about business. Anyway, I've whittled on for nearly 5 minutes. This is a fantastic episode, filmed in Telford. in it was Hazeldown House. If you know Hazeldown House, it's at the back of what used to be Sidoli's. Man, I'm showing my age here, but it was Vox for a little bit. Was it Brown's Pet Shop when I was younger? It was nice being back in that area of Telford. Looking a bit dated though. I don't know what's going on in Telford. That's a really nice area of Telford. You need to do that bit up. A lick of paint would be great around there. But I've got to say, walk around Telford and seeing all the new buildings coming up the other side of the town, that's really exciting. I think it's got me kind of excited about the riverside developments that's going to happen in Shrewsbury, because that's all going to start looking new. And I think it'd be worrying for a lot of people, because now Shrewsbury like things to stay the same. But I feel like when the town gets this injection of redevelopment and excitement and something new, I think it's going to bring something quite exciting to the town. So yeah. Anyway, whittled on for a long time. Here is our episode with Shropshire Youth Support Trust. Enjoy. I'll catch you at the end. Hey guys, and welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. Coming to you today from Telford. I'm coming today from Telford, but we're from a side of Telford that I haven't I'm from Telford originally, so seeing this part of town is brings back so many memories. I remember the waterfall coming over here and Sidoli's at the top, and stumbling out of the Thomas Bott Field a few times after work. It's a great place to be. And today we're at SYST, SYST. A while ago, I met today's guest, Jon Gidney, at the Flax Mill. And we were like, SYST is an amazing thing. I think we had 5 minutes of chat, didn't we? Yeah. And we were like, this is an amazing thing to talk about. And we just haven't got around to putting the podcast together, have we? So I think it's really cool that we're here today. So I've got today from SYST, got Jon Gidney and Darren Duffy. Hi guys.
Hiya.
I'm going to pull those microphones right a bit closer to yourselves.
Yeah,
get your mouths right in there. All right. Can you give us some audio so I can hear you? You good?
Hello. Can you?
Hello. There you are. And we've got Vicks as well. You all right, Vicks?
Hello. Good morning. You all right?
You've had quite a morning, haven't you?
I have. I was going for multicoloured nail varnish, and the orange one went down my lovely jacket, which makes it look like I've been eating ketchup at McDonald's.
Do you know what I did this morning? I did that thing where you wake up and you go, I'm not going to leave late.
Yeah.
I'm not going to leave late. And I ended up leaving 5 minutes late and screaming down the M54 trying to get down here. It's really cool to be here, though. Jon, you're an interesting fella. Okay, I've got to mention that this podcast, this exact episode, happened by accident, right? And I'll explain myself. Have you had any an ad on LinkedIn by David McCready, a guy called David McCready?
Possibly. The name rings a bell, but on LinkedIn you get so many messages and stuff, it's hard to remember.
Well, so I was speaking to David about doing a podcast, and I was like, yeah, we should do this. He's bringing a logistics company to Shropshire, and he's like, I want to come on the Biscuit and talk about it. And I was like, great. So I jumped on LinkedIn, and I don't do LinkedIn ever. I think the last time I used it was 2019 or something. And I jumped onto what I thought was Dave McCready, and I was like, yo, when we're doing this podcast, and you were like, yeah, we can do it such and such a time. And I was like, oh, that's really great. And then I was like, oh my God, that's the wrong guy. But I went back on our messages and I looked at the Flax Mill event that we went to. I was like, actually, this guy is fascinating in himself. And then there's the SYST stuff.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a bit about your past? Because the golf, the business, how it goes from being a sports personality yourself to get into sports business. I think that's really cool. Yeah,
so I left school and I was playing golf full time and really enjoying it as a hobby, but also envisaged a potential career in golf. And as it became more of a career, I realised that sponsorship was really important to have a career in golf. Playing at the time, I was trying to play tournaments to win prize money. But prize money on itself is, unless you're extremely good, which I wasn't, you need...
Don't undersell yourself. Come on.
Well, you need sponsorship to support yourself. And then obviously to get sponsorship, you need to have personal branding and you need to do marketing and run yourself like a business, basically. So at that point, I was sponsored by several marketing agencies, and I was engaging a lot with business owners, trying to learn as much as I could about running a business, and was doing a lot of marketing myself. And that's how I got into marketing, is basically doing it myself, learning as I went along. And I had amazing experience in golf, playing all around the world, had some great sponsors, great experiences. Ultimately, I wasn't the best golfer in the world, and I couldn't make
Well, it got you to the European PGA, didn't it? I mean...
Well, I did. I'm proud of some of the achievements I had, but it's extremely challenging to make a career out of playing professional sport. And also, as I said, I wasn't good enough to be earning millions to be able to do it and carry on doing it. But it's really tough as well. I think people think it's amazing. You know, you watch people on telly lifting a trophy, but it's all the other stuff you don't see. Traveling around the world, living out a suitcase, not seeing family, quite lonely at times, quite expensive and risky at times because you're funding it all yourself. And if you don't play well, you lose money that week. And there was a few turning points for me. I think I had a tournament in Colombia. I flew to Miami, flew to Colombia, and that week in itself cost me like $2,500, and I missed the cut, so I didn't get paid. And I came back that week after being really tired after traveling, and I was like, I've just
worked, a loss as well.
I've just worked for a week, and I'm $2,500 down. I thought, well, that's not a very good business model, is it? So
sounds really tough going.
Yeah. So, but it was amazing. It was great experiences, and then that's why I had this shift then into marketing, and I had a few marketing roles for businesses locally in Shropshire, and then over time, I've basically just got the day job and doing marketing now. Golf
for me is like a very solitary thing, especially when it comes to that whoosh, because everyone's watching you, and you know, I've got anxiety. I talk about it all the time, but I can just imagine it's all like, and here we go, whoosh, and there's all these people surrounding you, and they're either going to go, oh, or ooh, like, you know, that moment there, you must be under a lot of pressure in that moment. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure. I think it's a great sport, particularly if you play it when you're young. It's a brilliant sport, I think, for like maturing yourself, because you've got the social side, and then the actual pressure of playing, a lot of it's mental, and you do feel anxious if you're not confident and you've got to hit a shot and loads of people watching. It can be uncomfortable, and you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. But then over time, without realizing, you're learning a lot of the skills. Yeah.
And one day the game can feel really easy, and then the next day you can feel like, I don't have a clue what I'm doing here. I could mess it up. I could, embarrass myself in front of people.
With sports as well, we're hearing a lot of stories like, who is it? Is it Aaron Lennon is talking about the business side behind young sports stars? I mean, that's an extreme example of people being weaned or pulled away from different positions with money, and there's also sports stars that fall flat on their face and have got no education, things like that. Those are all coming out now, and you had this hindsight by yourself. You realize that maybe after golf you needed a career to fall back on, and that's...
My mum always said to me, always have a plan B, because you never know. If you just focus on what you want, your dream, you might not reach your dream or whatever. Something might happen out of your control where you can't do it. I might have got injured or whatever. So she always said to me, have a plan B. And for me, the plan B was marketing. And that's what I've fallen into.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And now we're here at SYST. Yeah. How did you make that transition then?
So I got more and more into marketing. I've done marketing in Shropshire for, all of my career, really. And I met one of the team at SYST about roughly 4 years ago at a business networking event through the Shropshire Chamber of Commerce. And because I was doing marketing consultancy, there was some young people that SYST were working with who needed some marketing support setting up their own business. And she asked me if I'd be a volunteer mentor. So I became a volunteer mentor, mentored 2 young people, and helped them with creating personal branding, social media, marketing, which I found very, very rewarding, because you could see then the great progress some young people were making very quickly, and they build confidence and they have hope, and they're getting their first job or whatever.
That's amazing.
So I started as a volunteer mentor, and then as I got to know the team at SYST, they wanted help with marketing for SYST as a charity. So I started helping SYST as a charity as I'm a trustee and do some marketing work as well. So
that's amazing. Yeah. So what do you find some of the young people that come along to SYST, what sort of challenges are they finding themselves up against? What sort of barriers do they find?
I think there's I think there's a real mix. I mean, day to day at SYST, I'm not dealing too much with the young people at the moment. It's more the marketing side, but they're all slightly different. Some of them lack confidence and direction and understanding or realising their potential. And I think they perhaps get in a rut where they're out of employment and they see no way out of that. And it is hard, I think, I think confidence for me plays a big part. If you're young and you don't have the experience of maybe going for job interviews and stuff, it can seem quite daunting. But SYST is a charity. We support really young people in 3 different ways, 3 pillars, and it's mental health and well-being. So we have our own counsellors for those that are actually really struggling with their mental health or whatever, and they need that support before they can even think about getting a job. And then we help people with getting into employment, and that could be help with interview techniques or CV writing or gaining other skills. And then we help people with setting up their own business. So that's young people who might have that aspiration to be an entrepreneur.
Which is amazing. This is that teach a man to fish philosophy, isn't it? Like, and we got Darren with you as well. What's your role, Darren, at the
currently running the office.
Coming forward a bit in the mic, sorry.
I'm currently running the office, so I'm working with all the team out there and doing the good work. And
what are you seeing on a day-to-day when it comes to helping young people come along in this environment?
Yeah, I think it's amazing. When I left school, there was 4 million people unemployed, and my first job was in Germany picking grapes. There was no work here, and there was definitely nothing helping youngsters coming out of schools. So I came across this charity, just saw it online. I was trying to look for something a bit more rewarding. I'd worked in business before. I'd had my own business with some friends of mine, and that was sold in 2023. And I was just looking for something, that I could sort of fall into, do a bit of good, pay back before I went back into something else. So I was looking mostly in charities, NHS, and I came across this one. I thought, well, that sounds good. They were looking for a business advisor to teach youngsters how to start up in business. And I thought, well, that's a great little thing. So I'll apply and see what happens. And I started in October of last year. I was asked to build some courses or develop some courses for the youngsters coming through. And since then, I've been delivering the courses. I also have, there's other people in the organisation. So we have wellness and mental health support. Some people are, they just need a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of self-belief. Maybe they've got a little bit of anxiety. So it's not like, we're a mental health hospital or something. It is just helping youngsters sort of get used to the world. We're all shy when we're younger and all that sort of stuff, or some of us are and some of us aren't, and it is helping them sort of. They've got to speak to strangers, new people in business. They've got to approach people. They've got to learn a different skill set from what they've had.
We're living in a world that's everything's text-based now. Whether it's Facebook, Twitter, emails. I mean, there's even that anonymity that comes with like gaming. You don't know who you're speaking to, so even that's fine. But when it comes to like phone calls, actually speaking to another human being face to face, do you think there's a lot of problems this day and age?
I do, yes. I mean, I was quite surprised. I've sort of grown up in the sort of corporate world and been sort of cosseted from that, except through my own children, But when I came here and I saw the scale of it, because it was a bit like you saying to people, if you want to start up in business, come on my course, and then they'd say, can we do it over Zoom because I'm not comfortable in person and stuff like that. And I'm happy to accommodate that as well. It makes no difference to us. We want them in. But one of the important lessons that I sort of try and get across is you're coming into a different world now, and if you're going to work for yourself, you're the one promoting it. You're the one that's got to meet people. You're the one that's got to speak to people. Yeah, you need to overcome these things. And if you want, we've got people here who can support you in that. So I was quite surprised, and like I said, there's more people are more aware now, I think, than when they were when we were younger. So they know if they've got ADHD or autistic traits or anxiety. I think we sort of went back in the day, tripping up in the world and just making mistakes and learning to get over it. But now people are very, very aware of what they do and don't need. And that goes with all youngsters and all the parents of the youngsters. Everyone seems to be involved in their care and that, whereas we were sort of kicked out at 9 in the morning and told to go and play football.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was literally just thinking about it. I was cleaning my car the other day and it was like brilliant sunshine. I was out there and I was thinking, I should just kick my kid out. He's upstairs playing Minecraft or whatever. I should just kick him out. Do you have the same with your kids, Vic?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Get out there and get dirty, go and dig a hole somewhere or swing off a tree or, I don't know.
Well, I had real problems with mine. I couldn't get them to leave the house. They've got iPads and they've got phones and they're talking to their friends all day and they haven't got transport or anything like that, and their friends might be living in the next, village along whatever it is, or the other side of Telford. So they would be, on their devices all day.
I think it's sometimes honing in on their skills as well, isn't it? Because there's a lot of benefits to how advanced our young people are today with technology, and they're willing to embrace things like AI and things like that. And my son, he uses CapCut and creates like content and stuff like that, and he knows how to do filming and editing and stuff like that, and he's 14 and it's just like nobody's taught him. Well, perhaps YouTube did teach him, I don't know. He learned obviously a bit at school as well, but also it's like difficult for our young people, like you say, they're more aware, say if they have autism, ADHD, and I think that can only sort of empower them really, and employers have to sort of make arrangements for that, don't they, and sort of like adaptions and accommodate interview settings or workplace settings. But like you say, a lot of your young people, there are sort of barriers to things. And I was just looking online at some of the stats, and like you were saying earlier, it said that 13.4% of young people aged 16 to 24 are not in education, employment, or even training. And it says it's at the highest level in 11 years right now. And why do you think that is?
That's a difficult question for me to answer because I haven't been in the industry that long. But I do think, in times when the economy isn't great, or there's problems in the economy, there are certain areas that will always suffer. One of them being sort of like the economy's not doing well, people have got less money in their pockets, restaurants go down because people don't want to spend their money in restaurants, and that's how you can kind of measure what's going on in the economy by looking at businesses. When you're looking at employment, the first ones to go down are the youngsters coming out of school because they haven't got the skills, they haven't always got the attitude, they haven't got the understanding, they haven't got this health and safety. They have got to be costed a little bit, looked after, and they haven't got families. So if you're employing and you're faced with somebody that's got a wife and 2 kids and is going to look after in their home,
there's a hunger to survive, isn't there?
Somebody just leaving school with no skill set who you've got to look after.
Yeah, of course.
I think it's only natural that they might lean towards the person that needs the money most and has got the skill sets.
Yeah. My oldest son's 20, and him trying to come out of school and go into work was a bit of a nightmare because he's in Wrexham, and he found a job at Village Bakery. He won't mind me talking about this. He found a job at Village Bakery, just his first job. It didn't last very long there because it's like it's a tough environment for young people to just walk straight into. Like you said, he didn't have the experience. It's the only job he could find really. Now he's doing really well. Starting to build up a bit of work experience, but now I've got my 18-year-old going, Dad, can you help me get a job? And I'm like, oh my God, it's a tough world out there for youngsters. It really is.
Well, you know what? I think going past, there was always this tough love thing, going past, and and you'd be like, do my parents even like me and stuff like that, and now parents really do look after their children, and children do have an easy life sometimes, not all of them, but it's certainly I think that everything's sort of brought to them, whereas with us we were sort of like, go out and play, get out the road, you go, I haven't got time. I mean, even things like watching football, if somebody's got a child now, they go out and watch football, 6 or 7 relatives watch them. I mean, when I was at school, we'd play football week in, week out and never see any parents around the ground. I mean, the times have just changed completely, and I think the tough love that used to be there, it just doesn't really, it's not really around.
And then when something tough does come along, it's like a shock to the system. It's like, oh, you just shouted at me.
Yeah.
And it's I think sometimes you've got to be mean. You're mean to be kind, haven't you? I feel like I'm the gruff bear of the family, because I'm kind of like, oh, you got to do some reading, son. Sit down, And my wife's like, oh, but you've got to be able to do that, because otherwise, if they get shouted at by the boss, or they have an issue with outside in the world, we all know how it is. They're gonna panic.
I think it is really hard though for some children, isn't it? Because I used to actually hate the word become more resilient. I used to really dislike it, because it's like when someone said that to me or my children, I'll be like, oh, it's like, there are some really soft souls in the world, and I think that it is really tough. And I think some children then and young people are directed more to being self-employed and to being their own boss, because that's such a liberating thing, to be able to be your own boss, do what you're passionate about and enjoy. But it's having those skills and how to navigate that. I mean, they don't teach it in school, your business plan or your, income and expenditure and things like that, and your tax return. And it's like, is that sort of things that you discuss with young people that come to see you who want to pursue business?
Yeah, so I mean, I let them know it's the introductory level. So the stuff that we teach them is things like, assuming that most of them are going to come in with small ideas, I want to do nails and I want to do it from home.
Can someone do mine, because I've really messed it up today?
I'm sure we can find. I'm
there are
sure
times
we
I'm
can
so glad
find
I'm not
some
a
people
woman.
who do the nails. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they're small-scale businesses, they're sort of crofter, homestead type things, small businesses. And so they come in, but they've got no idea where to start, no idea what to do with how they're going to market themselves. Most of them have got a pretty good idea. I'll use Facebook, but that's about the level it goes, And so we say, right, okay, then we're going to give you an introductory course in business, but it's a wide topic. I mean, I did a degree and it was 4 years long,
Yes.
So if you
Business.
the more you want to learn, the more you can just sit there and throw yourself into it.
Are these free, or do they
Free,
have to pay for us?
we're a charity, so we don't charge anything for anything. All the things that we put on, we get through funding.
Oh, that's amazing.
So funding helps us survive, and the youngsters just come in and it's free to them. So.
And Jon, you've been around for a while. What kind of success stories have you seen, during your tenure here? I mean,
there's been loads of success stories from people getting their first job, and also people just engaging with us. I don't want to. Everyone's different, but there'll be young people that are at home and not doing anything, and then they're engaging with us and learning and going on to get their first job, or just gaining a lot of skills as well. And one of the things I found from being here, I'd say that everyone has different skills, but I think everyone has skills. And what's important, and one of the things that we are keen to do when someone engages with us at the first instance, is to identify what their skills and passions are, and then support them with finding the best career for them. And it's different for everyone. But just going back on the conversation previously, I do think it's really difficult for young people to get into work, because none of them have the experience. So straight away, they're almost at a disadvantage. They don't have the experience. And some of them might have amazing skills and be really capable, but getting getting off the ground at the start of their career, I think is really difficult, and that's what we try and obviously help them with a lot.
Do you help with like CV building and things like that? And because that was something that, you know, when you're first starting out, you first leave school, they do help a little bit, don't they, in school with this sort of thing. But to have a real professional to do that for you, my sister's luckily in recruitment, and she's a recruitment consultancy, and she helped me with my CV. And it was just like the difference when she restructured my CV to the responses I got from employers was amazing, you know, whereas the one I'd created myself was like not getting any response at all.
Yeah, so we do help out with skills upskilling. So we've got CV writing. We've actually got things like bowling. We take people bowling and that's just to get a bunch of youngsters together, and they might not be comfortable, you know, in group settings, and to get them all in a group playing a game.
It's really
chatting,
good team building,
bringing out their confidence and all that sort of stuff. So we help them find work. So we'll sit down with them, we'll go through the job search with them, try and find work. We put a plan together for them to work to. And the aim is to get them out of needs. So that's not in education, employment and training. So we want to get them in employment or back at school in training. It could be apprenticeships, it could be just a HND or something like that in the local college, or back in work. So, you know, people usually know what they want, or, you know, what they'd like. Sometimes they don't, you know, and we're there to support them while they make their mind up as well.
I spent about 8 years working with care leavers in Woodside. It was a bit of my past life. One of the best jobs I had, because you could see, I mean, one success story out of 20 is just amazing to see, you know. But communicating with a lot of those young people over the years, one of the things I got, and this isn't just to single Telford out, because I think it happens in Shrewsbury, it happens everywhere, but adversity is a big problem along the big council estates of kids that are just raised to accept failure. I've seen that an awful lot, where kids have like, my dad was on the dole, didn't have anything, I'm going to be on the dole, I'm not going to have anything. They have this mindset where they're beaten before they've even had stepped out the door. How do you deal with that? Because it is a common thing that I saw. I mean, sometimes you'd see that adversity is a bad thing, and but it's also a connecting thing. It's also a thing that can bring people together. You know, you talk about bowling and team building. What's to say somebody goes, oh, I was from that place. Oh, yeah, we did this. And now we're, do you know what I mean? There is a connection there sometimes.
I grew up on Woodside.
Yeah.
And I had probably similar experience, went to school, sort of did well at school, but then sort of got kicked out halfway through my A-levels. That was my fault. I was a little bit disruptive. I then tried to go to college, didn't like that, so I left that. I did my stint picking grapes out in Germany, and I came back and started work straight away. And I think once I was in work, that sort of gave me a responsibility to be in. I was working in factories, so it gave me a responsibility to do all that, and I settled down, had a family, all that sort of stuff, just like a lot of youngsters did. But I didn't expect to get anywhere in life at all. But I think by the time I'd reached about 30, I'd kind of had enough of factories. It was just not, it wasn't stimulating enough. And so I went to university. I did 4 years there at uni. And I came out and started working at EDS down the road, now Hewlett-Packard. Spent a long time there working, building up my skill set. And then went into project management, and then I think 2015 set up a company with my friends. It went really well. We worked up our number of employees. We had 2 offshore facilities that we were running as well, and it became a successful business, and we sold it to a company in Canada, so we did quite well.
That's
really.
amazing.
I love that. And I love that come from Woodside. Because, by the way,
So inspirational. That's great for the young people you work with, isn't it?
amazing. But like, I just want to add that there are some great people in Woodside. I think I've seen some great things. That, I mean, it's obviously we're the same as everywhere. You know what I mean? It's the same as everywhere. But the fact that you had this drive to get out and you did that, and that's really inspiring, I think.
Yeah, what you say about Woodside, I mean, I'm sure, but it's the same about every estate. I mean, when I grow up, people used to say, "Oh, it's rough there," and everything. I used to say, "It isn't." But then, what I didn't realise was I knew all the troublemakers.
Yeah, you knew his streets.
You're one of them.
With them, so.
He was one of them.
No, but it is one of them places. People are characters, aren't they? And that's how I always saw them growing up. I was a bit of a character in that, and but there wasn't people on Woodside sort of they police themselves, don't they? And I remember getting in trouble with someone, and you think you've got away with it, and then my dad's pulling me up and saying, "Get to his house and apologise." And I'm like, how does he know?
Already.
Obviously, there's another hierarchy. They're all in the pub talking about it. So yeah.
We talk about young people starting businesses. How do you rewire a young person's brain into having that, giving them those responsibilities when it comes to running a business, doing things properly, make sure you do your company's house properly, make sure you do your taxes, make sure you're not spending enough money. How do you build that in a young person?
It's a skill set. People really have to want it. I say to them on my course, you are choosing the more difficult route. The easy route is to go find a job and say, give me a job, support me, and I'll do some work for you. That's the easy route. The difficult route for you is this, because you're going to have to understand everything that's going on around. You're going to have to make decisions. Do I like doing that? Do I want to pay someone to do it? And you're going to have to make sure everything's done and run the business. You're going to have to get a complete skill set in order to run your own business, and you're going to have to be self-motivated. So if people want to come on my course and they start saying, "Oh, I don't know whether I want to do this and I don't want to do that," I'm quite happy to push them away and say, you really need to know that you want to do this, because if it's not a passion and you don't want to do it, don't do it, because you'll fail. You will give in.
And then you'll be scared to do it again in the future.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is about starting up in business. It's not a failure. If you know what the risks are and you say, "I'm going to do this," and it doesn't quite work out for you, you've done it once. You can do it again. You can start up another business. You can say, "Well, maybe nails isn't for me. Maybe it's something else. What else am I passionate about or want to sell or think there's an edge in?" And you can move from one business to another. All the time you're improving yourself. That's the game. I think if you stop doing that, then you may as well
I think
work for someone else. Yeah.
failure is like a fear for young people, and again, it's sort of their self-worth, and they sort of feel dictated by that's to be successful means I'm worthy, I'm great, I'm good. If I'm failing, I'm not worthy, I'm useless, I'm no good. But actually, it's there's so much that can be learnt in failure, and it's how we progress. And it's like, if one business doesn't work, try something else. You learn every time that from those experiences. And somebody I follow on podcast, and I love him, Stephen Bartlett. He left school with little education. Not promoting that you don't do your best at school and don't try your hardest, children. Do that. But he is an entrepreneur, young man, had all these ideas, didn't fit around peg in a square box or whatever you call it. What is it? How do I say that?
Around peg and square hole.
Have I said that right? Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, that one. And he tried different businesses, and a lot of his businesses to start with failed. And look at him now; he's multimillionaire, very successful. But the main thing about him is he's very happy in himself. And it's not all about money. It's not all about the success of having powerful businesses.
Is success suggestive though? because like I feel like if you ask some people what is success, if it's a young person, like, well, I got 10,000 views on this TikTok video, made it in life. Well, some people be like, I'm rich, I made it in life. Some people are like, I have peace and tranquility, I'm successful. You know?
Yeah, it's quite a personal thing, perhaps, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think your views on that can change as well over time, and I know that I sort of value people a lot more now that I've been in business and everything. That I actually value people a lot more, and health, and caring for others, and making money, and that is just not my priority anymore. Whereas it might have been at one point.
What about you, Jon? Because you were a competitive sportsman, and now you go into the world of business. Those tram lines have changed for you now, haven't they? I guess, with success and what that means to you.
Yeah, exactly. And talking about, I think it comes back to us talking about mindset, because failure and success, kind of anything you do could be seen as both. So my experience in golf, for example, you could say I failed because I didn't become the world number one, or you could say I succeeded because actually I did something that hardly anyone has. Lots of people want to do, be a pro golfer, and not many people do it. So it comes back to mindset. I don't think how I see life, and everyone's different. Some people have specific goals and they want to reach a goal. I personally see it more as a journey, and to try your best throughout the journey and to go on a journey. So how I view life is not really success or failure. It's about trying your best and going on that journey. And that's how I see it. So whether that's the right mindset, I don't know. But
no, I love that. That's brilliant.
It's perspective. It said your mindset can change, and it's important to have the right mindset to get the most out of yourself.
I think daily as well, those things can change. We're sat in a place now where I can see a mural that says Primal Instincts Men's Mental Health. We talk about mental health. It's actually Men's Mental Health Month. That's really cool. Yesterday I was feeling quite low. I have PTSD. I have a few issues going on with my mental health, and yesterday I felt like doing it all. I just wanted to sit around and do nothing, right? I got up and I managed to make some content. I made some 2 reels, and I felt really good about myself. That was a successful day for me because I got myself out of my pit. Do you know what I mean? And whereas today I'm kind of like, I want to make a podcast. I'm going to release one later. I'm ready to go. I'm going to do loads of things today. Mental health is a huge part of it. If someone's been, I'm a council estate brat. I grew up in council estates in Wrexham, Telford. It's hard, man. It's hard, and you're battered and bruised by the time you get to by the time you're 18 or 20, and you're used to failure. It's hard to drag yourself out of that. Mental health is a huge part of being a success.
It is, and just reflecting on what Darren mentioned earlier about Tempin. So Tempin Telford, very kindly, we partner with them, and they provide free activities for some of our young people on weekly sessions. And one of the reasons we did that is that we want to clearly engage with young people needs that are sometimes difficult to engage with. And I think the thought of them coming into an office in a formal environment for a formal meeting there's possibly some barriers there that will prevent them from coming in. So we tried to create an enjoyable activity which might be more interesting for them, and they might find it more enjoyable. And as a result of doing that, they enjoy it, they have a smile on their face, the mental health improves.
That's brilliant.
And then they have the mind, they have a boost, and they have the mindset then of, I want to get my first job. And I know with me personally, if I'm happy at work, I work a hell of a lot better than I do if I'm not very happy. So it's about trying to improve the mental health of young people as well.
It's so important.
It helps their career.
When I arrived here today, I parked up, and you were saying that there's some buildings over here that you use for sort of like talking services, talking therapies, is it? Have I got that right?
We have a couple of counsellors as part of our team. So some of our programmes, we provide free mental health counselling support for young people. So we have different spaces here. We have the unit at the end where most of our team are based, but we do need some confidential spaces with some of our young people. So we have those spaces, and then we have spaces where Darren will deliver group sessions as well. So we've got a variety of spaces here which are useful.
That's absolutely fantastic. I think it's really difficult as well, because like you say, to get that first rung on the ladder, to get out into the place of work, or to pursue their passion and dreams and what they want to do, whether it's going into business or applying for jobs. Again, I like my statistics. I was looking online, and it said NEET, which is not an employment educational training. Have I got that right?
That's correct.
1 in 3 said they would like to work, but poor mental health prevented it. So that's why your service is so important. And it says 1 in 2 said that being unemployed made them feel absolutely hopeless. And it said 1 in 5 said that they were applying for jobs every day, but without success. How
Yeah.
demoralising, and how, you know,
That's tough.
oh,
The
yeah.
rejection, you know, if you're in a low place and you really want a job and you're applying for jobs and you keep getting rejected, I mean, that must be a tough place to be in. But we're here to support those people.
Is there a waiting list to sort of speak to people, or do they just turn up? Is there certain evenings, days, times, slots, or do they contact them? How do they get in touch with you to book
With
these
us.
sort of sessions to work on their mental health? Because there's such a massive waiting list to get any assistance through the NHS, and it's just a massive hole that is really needing people like yourselves, charities, helping to step in to fill that gap, because people can't wait 8 months to talk. You know what I
No.
mean? It's just not effective.
Yeah, and we have the availability to support young people very quickly. Actually, Darren's probably better placed than me to answer how quick that is, but it's pretty quick, isn't it?
Yeah, so we've got 2 programs that sort of support mental well-being, and that one is we've got the Lintel Trust run a program called the EE program, which is part of the new business setup that I'm part of, and on the flip side of that, they also support mental well-being, because we recognise that youngsters might want to start their own business but not feel comfortable talking to adults or whatnot, and they need that extra little bit of support or coping mechanisms or resilience. You know.
Shh, don't use that word. I'll let you off.
Yeah, so there's that bit that's in place, and that's part of my program that I work on. And then we have another program which is funded by the NHS, so they give us some funding to support people with mental health conditions, and so we do some counselling from them. We also offer the same things that we offer on our programmes, so that they can use the bowling that's been given to us by the bowling, Temping Bowling.
How do they apply for it? Do they just like turn up on a certain day? Do they phone? Do they use the website? Or
Quite often they look on our website, and then there's a telephone number, or there's an email that you can send an automatic email registration form. They can just walk into our building, Unit 14, opposite the Thomas Spotfield.
oh, that's good. What days are you open there? What times?
Monday to Friday. Monday to Thursday is 9 till 5, and Friday is 9 till 1. So,
Oh, brilliant.
but they're free to walk in. It's
So they can come if they are in school or some kind of education or in something, they can come afterwards, and you're still open to them.
Yeah, and we've got people who'll meet them, greet them, talk them through it, register them. There's no pressure. Again, our vested interest is not enforcing people to do something that they don't want to do. It's up to them. We just let them know that this is available, and if you're interested and you want to join, commit to coming, because that's what we need. We need you to try and see it through, because we want to help people. You know,
There's nothing more frustrating than a leader in a scenario where is not able to lead anything, and I've seen that in my years. Like, they get snappy, they're that alpha male kind of strut around, but they're natural born leaders, and they I've seen that over the years. That I'm like, this guy deserves to run his own business, his own company. He could do wonders with this thing. I used to say to people, if you're really stressed, go and record a podcast, make some music, go do some writing. And that was like my advice to give to people when they were really stressed in the night, and they would come back, and sometimes they'd make amazing things. Sometimes you just got to get a license. Let them cook. You just got that's what they're saying. You got to let them cook, and then give them the opportunity to thrive.
Well, that's a leadership style that you're on about there. So for the people that I've responded better to are decent human beings that know how to speak to people, and usually you're in awe of them because they're gifted and they've got their own talent set that you wish you had. It's someone you aspire to be. I don't respond too well to people that start throwing their weight about, and I don't think a lot.
You think it's worth like teaching someone how to hone in that skill to sort of like aim it at a different direction?
I think self-improvement's good for everybody, isn't it? Is that, am I not right there?
Yeah, absolutely, totally agree.
That would be a T-shirt. Self-improvement's good for everyone.
Yeah, I can't remember which one the ding is. There you go. We always create these T-shirts during the show, and Darren's just made one. Have you seen any new? And everybody loves a young entrepreneur. You know, I've been doing this for many years with the Shrewsbury Biscuit, spoken to many businesses. The pandemic was amazing for all these grassroots businesses that came out of nowhere. Have you seen any young entrepreneurs in Telford that have come through yourselves, or that you're aware of?
Yeah, we do. We do an annual, for the last few years, an annual SYST Awards and celebration event where we're celebrating the achievements of young people that have come through SYST. And the one award is the Stoddart Award, which is to celebrate the ongoing success of a local business. And there's Life Bar in Telford. Alex and Beth run that. And that's become really successful. And they came through SYST, so they reached out to us. They had a business idea and they wanted support. And they went through our assisted business program. And they got a small grant of financial support to set up their business. And today they are still running a successful business. So that's a really good local success story, and one that we're proud of as well.
That's wonderful, isn't it?
I love interesting entrepreneurs. And speaking of interesting entrepreneurs, I don't tell you about this, Darren. I preempted these guys, but I recently found these guys online that have they've reinvented soap. I don't know if you've seen this. They're called Welcome to Bob, and they've. I saw the thing, and I was like, oh, this is really interesting. And they sent me out some in the post, and it's basically a device where it's a beautifully crafted plastic device where you slot in your soap, you click it, and you use that thing to wash. And then what you do is you subscribe to your soap and they send it to you every month. It's a soap subscription, so you don't need to have all your bottles of Lynx all up the bath and stuff. And it's a really well crafted product that smells great. The only reason I thought this was a great product is because I get up at like 5:30 in the morning, I got a shower, get to work, and I can't be bothered finding which shower gel goes. So like this thing, you plug it in by the side of your bath or your shower, and you grab it, you use it, you go.
That's great.
It's really quick.
Sounds really good for the environment as well.
It is good for the environment because there's no plastic or anything apart from the container, obviously, which is I think they carefully select the plastic it's an environmentally well sourced plastic.
What's the name? Remind me.
It's Welcome to Bob.
Is there a story behind that?
No, but I spoke to the founder. And I was saying we used to do You Suck, the old podcast where I could speak to anyone around the world. And when it comes to innovations and entrepreneurs, I think these guys are hit on something because like soap is soap, right? Everybody's used to a bar of soap, but they've like, how can we make soap sexy again? Do you know what I mean? Like nobody's ever thought, how can we make soap sexy? I mean, there are a couple of people doing it, but like this is like a naturally like it's a well-sourced soap that is good for the environment and looks and smells great. I think it's really cool. So thank you.
I like the name too.
Welcome to Bob. So thank you to the guys from Welcome to Bob for sending me a great product. I'm making a reel. That's why I did. I mentioned to these guys I was filming in the shower yesterday, which did alarm my wife. She was like, "You're doing what?" I was like, "It's really hard to film in the shower." I was just trying to get it close above the.
I don't think we need to know anymore.
Well, that's it. Yeah, I'll be making a reel. You'll see it for yourself. Go and buy yourself some Welcome to Bob soap. It's really cool. But I think it is really important to talk about those things. So is that these small ideas sometimes can roll downhill and become these amazing, like we talk about the Brewdog guys. I mean, those guys, like they got a 15 grand loan and they run it in their shed, and all of a sudden they become one of the biggest beer brewers in the country. And
it's like marketing, isn't it? With what you're in, John. How would you recommend people to promote their products and things like that? And how did the route you've gone down with marketing?
Well, with my clients, the business I work in, from a marketing perspective, I think you've got to look. There's no set marketing plan or strategy that will work. Every business has a different target audience and different aims and objectives, and they're different sizes and everything. The one thing in marketing I would say though for young people is that there's a lot of opportunities out there through self-employment, through marketing and social media alone. You can become an influencer on TikTok or YouTube or Instagram. You can build successful careers and make a lot of money very young if you have that skill through marketing, whether it's a podcast or content creation or whatever.
It's free as well out there. A lot of people, if like these guys, I'll go back to it. These guys from Bob, they just sent me out a bar of soap. I'm then going in the shower like an idiot. You know what I mean? But I'm doing it for free because I like their product. You know what I mean? They send me out some nice, cool stuff. I'm going to talk about it on my podcast. And there's TikTok, there's Facebook, there's podcasts, there's influencers are everywhere.
And YouTube as well, like vlogs on YouTube. You know, you see some really young people, 12-year-old or whoever that's got millions of subscribers on YouTube, and that is a business, that is a career, because they're making a lot of money out of the advertising from creating that content, and a lot of them probably just learn it themselves. They start creating something, a small video that might not be very good, but over time they're honing their skills, they're learning, and then they end up with a successful business.
And also, I think that there's the power of remote working as well with that you can work from your computer in a coffee shop or from home or wherever, as long as you've got internet access. And you can, work all over the world doing it remotely. Or if you're finding it hard to get employed in that role, I always sort of say to people, try and do it yourself. Be self-employed. Be a marketer, social media marketer or something, and build yourself up and say, oh well, actually, I've had experience of doing this for myself. I've done it for 12 months or whatever, and then apply for a job as getting employed as a social media marketer for a company, for a business. But that's probably another entry into things, perhaps.
But it depends what you're passionate about as well. I think, like Darren said before, you have to be passionate and enjoy doing social media and content creation. That kind of thing isn't for everyone. Some people won't like it, but some people will love it. And I think it's really interesting with young people as well. I have a 6-year-old child, and clearly he's not ready for work yet. But social media and technology, I'm kind of on the fence with it a little bit, because a lot of people say, they don't want to be on their iPad for too long or the phones for too long, because it's not good. They should be out and about. But there's so much learning to do on these devices. So I'm on the fence a little bit,
I put a timer on my son, so it comes in during the week at school. He has an hour timer on his phone, and then the weekend he has 2, because I don't want him sat there like he's turning into a zombie. I can't remember what he was getting. He went into the kitchen to grab a bag of What's-Its, and he stood there with the kitchen door open, just on his phone. He's like kind of halfway through a task of just grabbing a bag of crisps. And I'm like, right, phone's going away for a bit, buddy. Do what you need to do. Are you having a problem with that, Darren, with devices and with technology? Kids trying to drag kids away from that?
Do you know what? I've never had a problem with IT. I mean, I remember the first when the O level came out. I did the first year that the IT O level come out, and computer studies, and. That was probably around about 1983 or something like that. And and since then I've always loved IT and everything to do with it. I got bored of programming because it took forever and a day, and I sort of gave up and put it away for years. And then the internet come out, and I took no interest in that whatsoever. And then when I actually saw it for myself, I thought, wow, this is brilliant. The world's biggest library. And then all these devices have come out, and I've thought, wow, this is great. And my own daughter sat there playing on it, and I'm thinking, yeah, but you don't want to play on it. You want to get and have a look under the the hood now, and start looking about coding and stuff like that. But you can't make somebody interested in stuff that you're interested in. So. I quite often, I mean, I know they're trying to push code in now, but it's incredibly important, particularly with AI and everything that's going on now. More coders will be needed forever.
I think they are so naturally good at it, though, children and young people, because like when my daughter was 6, I was asking her, how do I do this? What have I done? And she'd be like, and it's sorted, and I'm thinking, wow.
Well, they say... So you've got ChatGPT and all that, and it does the coding for you. You've got to put in the parameters and that, but you're always going to need people there to check it. You're always going to need people there to guide it. So get into coding, I would say. But stuff like that, you've got to have that interest, that passion. Nobody's going to go into something that half-hearted like that, and
you can't get someone that enjoys sports to go and start blogging about heavy metal, for example. It's got to fit into their sort of their wheelhouse, hasn't it?
Well, in the course of my thing, one of the guys that come on my course, he said to me, I've got this concept and I'm building such and such, them using AI. And I was like, all right, can you do some coding? And he said, no. He said, but I've learned how to use ChatGPT to get all my coding done, and I'm slowly building this project up. And I thought, wow, that's brilliant. I'd love to spend a couple of hours watching over his shoulder, seeing what he's doing, because things like that, they're underutilized. I know everyone sort of goes at ChatGPT, but I mean, there's a whole host of them now. So so I just sort of like get to, I'm just interested in what each one will do. So I'm downloading loads of little large language models. And
I've got like a Google one. There's Copilot from Microsoft. There's ChatGPT. There's so many different ones now.
And have a little play with all of them, because there are some things that, I mean, I don't like to pay for anything. I mean, I don't know if anyone's the same, but I like to see what it can do. And some, you'll go on one free large language model, and it'll do a bit more for you than ChatGPT, and vice versa. So you kind of see what does work for you and what. And
I think it's an amazing tool. My terms and conditions are spot on my website, written by AI. A lot of my readouts for the blurb and the podcast, what I do is I write my own version, chuck it onto AI to sort it out for me. I'm not ashamed to say this. Do you know what I mean? And for a year I worked with Rough Sleepers. I remember being in the Ark in Shrewsbury, and there was a Rough Sleeper sitting there building a website on ChatGPT.
Right, yeah.
And he's like, I've learned how to speak to ChatGPT and build a website. And like, what an amazing tool, because it is just as easy as knowing the right questions to ask.
Yes.
And that is essentially what it is. All right, what I'm going to do is, I did ask her a few questions on Facebook because I wanted to talk about school curriculum. We're running short on time because we've got like 7 minutes to cram this in. My actual question was, where is it? I post so much useless stuff on Facebook. But when it comes to business, what should be taught in the school curriculum, or is there something that young people should know about business before getting into it? And I got some comments here. Graham Arnold, good friend of mine, he put, I wish I'd been taught about taxes instead of parallelograms at school. He goes, I know which one I encounter more in adult life.
Yes. I'd agree with that 100%, but money in general, a lot of the things I've learned about money, I didn't even learn at university. I didn't learn before then. I learned once I'd earned some money. It would be nice to know when you're younger how you can develop wealth, how you can increase your money, and the options available to you. I mean, for me, there's stocks and shares. Who does that? I mean, in America, everyone's doing stocks and shares. There's so many people doing it. Over here, it's a lot less. It is people with money that do it. You don't get so many people doing it here. But I have noticed that since things like Robinhood, I don't know whether that means anything to you, but it's an app that helps people with stocks and shares.
Oh wow!
Since that's come on board, I've met people that know nothing about things in life that go, oh yeah, I'm buying a bit of Bitcoin, and it just made me laugh, But I think things like that are needed, to sort of bring the UK forward a little bit. But yeah, things about money, definitely. Taxes, definitely. What else do we do? I mean, I do a whole piece on money, and it's great because it starts off, you teach them little bits about them and their banking, and then say, well, just make it bigger, and that's your local district, and make it bigger, and that's your country, and they all do it, and then compare your balance sheet and your profit and loss to Germany's profit and loss, and that's comparing economies, and then you can say, oh, actually, the value of their currency is different to the value of our currency. So you've got currency exchange rates. All this all ties in. It starts off small. You're looking at your own finances, but you can extrapolate that out. So getting people to understand finances, money, all that, really important. Interest rates, how banking works. The reason we have probably an economy where banks can get away with so much is because nobody knows anything about them and how it works. It's a mystery. Whereas if people had a little bit more teaching, they would be able to argue a bit. They'd be able to stand up to government a little bit more and say, what are you doing about this?
Is that South Park sketch, isn't there? It's like, give us your money, we'll look after your money, and it's gone.
Yeah, that's true. I saw something on the telly the other day, and there was some guy, and he goes, he goes into a Norwegian building. I don't know whether you saw it. He goes into this building and he said, this is one of the biggest funds in the world. So that means that they're managing pensions worldwide and all that. There's something like $3 trillion a day going through this company. And he was saying, this has been built by the Norwegian government, and it's from all the money that came from the North Sea oil. So what they did was they took that money, they put it in funds, started investing it, putting it to work, right? And now it's one of the biggest funds in the world, and the Norwegian economy is really strong and rich because of it. And we privatised it and gave it all to the companies and said, yeah, okay, drill the oil, give us, some money now, and then you've got that forever. And so we sold all ours, and it's gone, and we've never seen it.
BP and Shell are like, cheers.
Done nothing for the country.
Yeah.
And they've invested theirs, and there's a huge difference there.
A lesson to be learned as well.
Somebody should have taught our own government about money when they were in school.
Yeah.
Maybe we'd be in a different place.
Some of the other comments as well. Sorry if I was messing around with my phone. My phone doesn't like my mixer, so I had to switch off my play mode, screenshot the comments. Amanda Jones, she doesn't do Shropshire supporting refugees, but she's the co-founder, and she put she's the founder. She's the founder. I don't know if she's the co-founder. She put 100% working with AI, which we've covered. Very, very important. Moose Cooper, a good friend of ours, he put business, probably not how money works, definitely, which you've covered. Shane Chebsey put, I think kids should be taught about how to start a business and how to do taxes at school. It's crazy that it's not taught on the curriculum. And then we had Sean Thomas, who put use of spreadsheets relating to finances, understanding the tax system, learning every other subject through problem solving, reasoning and communication, as these are skills that you need when you're working with people. Working on problems that you don't have an immediate answer in order to build resilience. And learning through mistakes. Use of AI, speed up the process of copywriting, etc. I'll stop there, she put. And then finally, Marcus Matthews put, learn to know who you are and your gifts, not what society and school says. Oh, yes. Education is very important, but school doesn't teach you life skills. It teaches you how to take information in and repeat it.
Yeah.
Individuality.
I actually think school gets you to a point, and it's up to you to take it further. I would add logic to that as well.
Logic.
Yeah, because I've never been trained in logic or anything like that, and I've only learned bits about it. But the more I learn, and I'm still learning about it, but the more I learn, it's important in conversation, it's important in tackling issues, because there are ways of speaking to other people as well. There's ways of making people understand. There's ways of you understanding the world around you and taking inferences. I think we don't always make good decisions if we're not being logical, So, and I see this in Richard Dawkins. I could sit there and listen to him for hours just talking, and there just seems to be so much sense dribbling out of him, and it's something that I would like to sort of be, better at, I think.
Logic is something that goes right out the window when passion is involved, or panic. Or, you may be doing your nails 1 minute and the next minute you've got orange nail flowing down your jacket.
I know.
Yeah.
I think
it seems so logical at the time.
It said it dried in 60 seconds and it should take 6, to be honest. But
Is there anything coming up for SYST that you guys want to make people aware of? Is there anything you want people to get involved with that can help you?
No, I think it's just reminding everyone that we're here for the young people. We are a small team.
Is it just Telford, or do you do all of Shropshire?
All of Shropshire, but we're based in Telford, and a lot of our contractual work is delivering support in Telford. But no, it's throughout the whole of Shropshire. But we're still fairly, we've got small budgets. We're still fairly unknown. So there'll be a lot of people, young people, that probably don't know the services that we offer and the support that we can provide at no cost. So yeah, that, and also, we're a small team, but we've got an amazing team. The counsellors, all of the team we have here do an amazing job with the young people, and I think we value them a lot, and they're great to work with, aren't they, Darren?
Yes.
So if anyone wants to volunteer as well, are you looking for more volunteers or?
Well, we've never used volunteers, and it's something that we've started to discuss, and we've got to plan that, but we are in the process of planning it. And
we've got some mentors. Over the years, we do have, with the business startup side, we've had volunteer mentors that have helped a lot, and the trustees are mentors. But actually beyond that, it's quite an exciting time for SYST because we're going through a little bit of a transition, and there's lots of opportunities which we're keen to enhance support for young people. Fundraising clearly is for most charities is a big thing. So we're currently putting together a bit of a strategy to try and raise more unrestricted funding, which will then allow us to support young people in greater ways, and also more young people. So there's some exciting things going on at the moment. We're just going through a little bit of a transition.
It's brilliant, and it's so important, and it's supporting our young people, and it's going to make our economy better in the long run. You know, it's supporting mental health. It's just absolutely fantastic. I think what you're doing is brilliant.
Yeah, I do. I love it. I mean, really do love it, and I think, you know, we all like the idea of it. We all like seeing people come through, and we you know, even growing in confidence as they're there, and then getting jobs or starting up.
So rewarding.
It's like, you know, every 5 minutes it's like, oh, that's great. That's great, you know. On the downside, you know, you've got to get the numbers in, or you've got to make them aware that you're there. And I hope this podcast will do that. You know,
spread the word.
I was going to add on to this before we go, is just to say that if you do have any young entrepreneurs, we're all about giving people a voice, right, across Shropshire. So if you have any young entrepreneurs come for you, they want to talk about a great idea they've got, my microphone's always yours, all right? And so if there's anybody who wants to come on the show, talk about their young, growing grassroots business, tell them they can come on. And also, if you'd like me to come and show some young people how to create a podcast, they can go home and make their own content. They're probably better than me, though, in all honesty, because young people are great with stuff like this. They'll probably teach me a thing or two, but my mic's always yours. Okay.
I love the energy that both of you two have. Thanks for inviting us today.
It's been wonderful. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
It's been brilliant. Thank you. And before we start speaking, I think I shared that we are looking to create our own little podcast at SYST, and it's great that you've offered to support us with that, because we want to. I think it'd be really good to get those stories across from young people about the challenges they're facing, and also for us to get some guests on that have had challenges when they're younger, but they've overcome them and became more successful. We want to try and inspire young people as well.
Absolutely.
I had someone recently listen to my podcast, and they reached out and they're like, we want you to come on our podcast. And I was like, why? She was like, because you have anxiety and you do a podcast. And she was like, do you have social anxiety, yet you go out and speak to strangers? She was like, you need to come and speak to us. And I was like, okay, this is just a hobby, but I get it totally.
Inspiring people.
Inspiration. Brilliant. Thank you guys for chatting to us. Where can people find you guys on social media very quickly?
So we're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and a little bit on YouTube. So we should be easy to find. If we're not, then I'm not doing a very good job.
The Shropshire Youth Support Trust, SYST.
Brilliant. Okay. Fantastic. Cheers, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. So there we go. Wonderful episode. And I feel like something special's happening. Straight after this episode, me and Jon sat and we talked for a while. I'm going to help him. I really want to help him with his build his podcast. So if that means helping him assemble his studio and giving them pointers with, they sound like they know kind of what they're doing with the editing and stuff, but if they need a little bit of help, I think if it helps young people, I don't want to sound like I'm going for Mr. Universe or anything, but if it helps young people develop the skills they need for business and gives them a bit of confidence and gives them a voice, that's what this is all about, is giving people a voice, then I'll happily help as far as I can. So Jon, I think we're going to do some stuff in the future. I think he's a great guy. I think what they're doing is fantastic, and I want you to go and support them. So give their social media a follow. They're talking about bringing in volunteers if there's something that you can help with, because this affects the whole of Shropshire. I know they're predominantly in Telford, but across the whole of Shropshire, young people that need a bit of confidence building. You heard what Darren was talking about, with the bowling and things like that. If it gives them a kickstart in their social development, and that will lead on to job interviews and maybe starting their own business. These are really, really important things for young people. So really, really grateful for this episode because it felt good. It felt good to go to Telford. It felt good to sit and talk with people and to flex my podcast muscles. And it's nice to see Vicks as well. I think she did incredibly well in this episode. So thank you to everybody involved in planning this. I want to sort of echo what I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast. Just need help bringing things back up from when we've lost our audience with the glitch from iTunes and Spotify. Things that is change all the time. I mean, Apple Podcasts. If you got a podcast, you'll know this. They'll change the parameters of their artwork, or they'll change how you number your episodes, or they'll make a change that. Yes, they'll send out a message, but when you I'm editing, I'm doing this, I'm bringing this, and I'm uploading here, I'm typing this over here. I don't always pay attention to stuff like that, and that's my own fault. I should do really, but they'll make subtle changes, and then if you don't stick to those changes, they'll drop you to the bottom of the list. Spotify do it, and Google do it, and it's one of those things. But yeah, if you don't like our social media already, give us a follow. We're on Facebook, on Instagram, we're on TikTok. And if you know someone that wants to come on the podcast, you want to come on the podcast, drop me an email. We're at what is it? It's shrewsburybiscuitpodcast@gmail.com, and our website has all the information you need, and that is the Shrewsbury Biscuit Podcast.co.uk, and that's lovingly made for us by our friends at Web Orchard. If you need a website for anything, they'll do a spot-on job at making you the perfect website to cater for your needs. They've been our sponsor for a long time, good friends of ours. So if you do end up going to Web Orchard for a website, just tell them that the Shrewsbury Biscuit sent you with love. Anyway, I'll leave you guys with this one. Fantastic episode. Thank you to everyone involved, and I'll join you guys on the next one. Peace out.